It has been 247 years since the American people threw off the oppressive yoke of a foreign power and replaced it with the modern world's most glorious ruling document, the U.S. Constitution. One of the most pro-freedom constitutions in world history, and certainly in the modern world. Because, happily, the Constitution is based on the fundamental assumption that government is evil, and the people must be able to defend against it. That Constitution, in my opinion, is America's superpower. It's what separates us from the beasts and from the socialists. After all, plenty of countries have independent-minded people, like, say, Australia or once upon a time, Canada, and yet they have become docile subjects in a way that Americans have not, I think because of our Constitution. The First, Second, Fourth, and Fifth Amendments have been a lighthouse, bringing us back every time we stray, back towards a free people with the inalienable right to self-defense, both physically and politically, against what the framers saw as an inevitably predatory federal government. But the Constitution's greatest prizes are what's to come, the parts that are not currently enforced. The so-called Constitution in Exile that was set aside when FDR threatened to pack the court in the 1930s. An age when such despotism was, of course, popular. And it awaits nothing more than a Supreme Court with 5 individuals bold enough to actually read the Constitution they swear to uphold. Paramount among these economically are the 10th Amendment, just 27 words long, and another 31 words in the Contracts Clause. The 10th says anything not literally spelled out in the Constitution is reserved for the people or the states. This would abolish almost everything the federal government does today. They'd be down to national defense, courts, and naming post offices. Essentially, every single policy pushed today in a presidential campaign, everything from Democrats, most of what comes from Republicans, is, per the 10th, unconstitutional. Among the things the 10th would abolish include the Federal Reserve, indeed paper money, because the Constitution delegates neither. The federal government is allowed to regulate money, as in ensure that a 1-ounce gold coin in fact contains 1 ounce of gold. It cannot print unbacked confetti. Only states can issue money, and even then only, quote, gold and silver coin. The federal government also cannot mandate the use of paper money, legal tender, and the federal government certainly cannot direct a private company, the Federal Reserve, to run our economy. The second game changer is the Contracts Clause, which says that no state shall make any law impairing the obligation of contracts. That sounds small, but it would completely transform our world. It would return us to the golden age of the late 1800s that built our modern economy. Because if you have the absolute right to contract, it means you can produce anything, you can sell anything, you can buy anything you like. That repeals the entire administrative state that is progressively crushing the American economy and threatening political rights that ultimately rest on property rights. If you can't eat, you won't speak. The Constitution fully enforced is the blueprint for a free and prosperous society. It's been exciting watching the Supreme Court overturn decades of bad law, and I'm hopeful that they keep going to disarm the unconstitutional monetary administrative regime that has enslaved us. It will not happen tomorrow, but I'm optimistic that we have the solution in our hands, and the fiat administrative regime is living on borrowed time. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.